All right, everyone. It's time to talk about Tommy Robinson again, because now the cowardly elements of the British press that didn't dare to talk about it, they should have resisted the press ban. They should have come out and reported on it anyway and said, "Look, we're not. The British system is attempting to attack the concept of the press. They're trying to prevent journalism from occurring, both by jailing a journalist in the first place and then preventing others from reporting on it, number two. Now, people in the U.S., you don't know how good you have it. Make sure to hold on to your First Amendment rights very dearly. They should have violated it anyway and risked being fined. What the fuck is the British government going to do if some journalists there from mainstream publications ignore their press ban? If they hadn't been cowards, they would have done that. But meanwhile, press ban now has expired. So now they're talking about it, and if you look, it's mostly propaganda. It's like far-right extremist Islam-hating asshole Tommy Robinson, who is the second Adolf Hitler, has been jailed. Rightfully. Other people who are far-right miscreants are upset about this. Hundreds of far-righters gather at Whitehall to protest. Hundreds of far-righters demand he be released despite being the reincarnation of Goebbels. That's basically, I'm looking at the news feeds. That's basically what I'm seeing. It's so blatantly unfair and in some cases so outright defamatory. It's like, yeah, okay, maybe this is why no one cares if the free press is attacked, because the cable and newsprint press, it's not really a press. It's just a bunch of yellow journalism propaganda bullshit on behalf of big government at this point. So the alt media has to step in. We're the ones actually having an international conversation driving, I think, the end of the press ban. They probably would have kept it in effect. Except for the fact that millions of people all over the world were really, really upset and laughing at the UK, and it became a little bit politically tenuous, I think, to maintain it. Hopefully, this means that with continued pressure, with a coordinated effort between content creators and smaller media sites, we might be able to get him out of prison. Maybe some political minds will step in and say, 13 months at the very least, it's excessive. Which I would think it was. Also, there are idiots like Piers Morgan, gas bag that he is, literal walking fart bag. Piers Morgan comes out and says, "You dimwits, the reason this is a terrible thing because he could have endangered the prosecution." What are you talking? He was standing outside. Some people were talking to me, trying to act as though he stormed into the courtroom with a bunch of billy club wielding Nazis and was trying to publicly dox everyone in the courtroom. That's not what happened. He was standing outside. Just recording the venue. Oh, there's a trial taking place. Oh yeah, I think I recognize that bloke. He's the one that they think, raped 1,000 people. By the way, the British media is calling it a grooming gang that he was reporting. Grooming? Grooming? Oh, I thought you meant a violent, drug-addled prostitution ring, but maybe that's just my terminology. I know the British media is just so erudite, so obviously grooming gang is much more pithy. That's totally different. That's not what you're talking about. I guess that's the PC way of describing it so you don't get fined by the British government now, isn't it, cowards? So yeah, now Sargon and other Britishers can weigh in on the case because the press ban is over. But Trump Jr. actually, and kudos to him for this, comes out and attacks the UK too. He's like, this is unacceptable, it's an attack on journalism and freedom. Well, yeah. And the thing is, when you defend Tommy Robinson, and you're defending him because you're like, well, I wouldn't want to be randomly abused by the government. I don't care about his views. He's just sitting there recording. He's getting dragged off to prison. When you do that, a lot of times people assume your politics must overlap. You're defending hate. You're defending bigotry. No, you're defending press freedom. But a lot of people aren't going to understand that, including people on the right. They assume that you're dog whistling to them sometimes. You're like, Tommy Robinson shouldn't be in prison. Well, I'm a monarchist. I don't think any government in the world should be restricting its press. That includes, by the way, the propagandists and the corporate press. No, if their piece is just stupid and wrong, but it's not defamatory, it's not incitement or something, that should have absolute First Amendment protection too. The same should be true of bloggers and vloggers. Of course, the Feinsteins, the political elite, don't want that to be the case. They've consistently lost on this side of the pond on that issue, which is funny. Yeah, a bunch of YouTubers trying to get Tommy Robinson out of prison. It'll be a fun time. And people aren't going to stop talking about it for a while. Some people lose interest, but this is becoming a symbol of the larger problem in Europe, which is governments that don't protect their populations, then bury their heads in the sand and say, nope, there's no problem here. And then when someone speaks out and shows that there's a problem, they attempt to abuse them. They try to get them kicked off their jobs. They try to get them kicked off of, whatever weird pension system. You're not allowed to use the services other people do. You're going to be a second-class pariah citizen or subject, because no citizens, you don't have the right to self-defense or to speak freely. So you're not citizens, you're subjects. Now, at the behest of the crown, you're drones in the hive of the queen bee, I guess. Yeah. It's just crazy. It's not about defending his ideology. By the way, looking through briefly parts of his ideology, it's like, oh, I criticize Islam. So, what's wrong with that? Like, criticism of religion is a problem now? That's funny. The left used to love criticism of religion, except for certain notable ones. Christianity especially. Is there Christophobia? If I call out Christianity, some pastor rapes members of his congregation, I say, well, basically screw him. Does that make me Christophobic? Some atheist does something, wrong or allegedly or whatever, does something unconscionable. Does that make me atheophobic if I call him out on that? Is that really a Hindu phobic? Is there going to be Buddhist phobic, Mormon phobic, pagan phobic, Satanist phobic? I mean, come on. It's a bunch of bullshit. Religion's a choice that you make. It's not racism to criticize Islam. Islam's never been a race. It'll never be a race. Indonesia has the world's largest Islamic population. It's nowhere near the Arabian Peninsula. What are you talking about? Some of the biggest Islamic populations are parts of Africa. Again, not the same as Arabia. Or up in fucking Chechnya. Yeah, I don't think that they would like it very much if you said, oh, people are racist for calling you out for being Muslims. They're like, a race? What are you talking about? I mean, you were fucking Russians, racially. Who cares? It's crazy. Yeah, there's a really big problem in the UK with people. It's a culture of silence. People are self-censoring at this point over there, but they're not self-censoring over here. So, we're going to have to pull extra weight. Once again, this time, in the Third World War, which is, I guess, on the internet, once again, the United States has to liberate occupied Europe from the totalitarians seeking to suppress and devour people. Why is it that Europe was always the spawning point for the most severe of authoritarian movements? They don't see, like in Asia, you can get a tin horn regime in Latin America or Asia or something. Sometimes they're like installed by European power anyway. We're talking, in the colonial era and stuff. Oh yeah, we're gonna favor you over your brother because you're more willing to suppress your subjects and let us drug them up with opium, says the British, essentially. Some weird dynastic bullshit. It's crazy. Tommy Robinson shouldn't be in jail. There never should have been a press ban. I guess they didn't learn from the Streisand effect, and so they thought they could just suppress it out of existence. So don't worry, we'll just do a press ban. No, nobody will care about it. Then they realized very quickly that the world is larger than just your one island. The UK is one little lonely island up, off the coast of continental Europe. Big whoop if you suppress your own population from talking about a case. It doesn't mean other people elsewhere aren't going to talk about it. We can, by the way, get tips from people within the UK on the case. They're still talking about it. They just can't do it publicly because you've made it illegal to do so. And your press, they're cowards, and so you've managed to gull them into submission. I wonder how many pounds or euros or whatever the British government has to pay to these journalists to keep them in line. Wonder how many backroom coke deals go on there. And does that coke come from the CIA? It probably does. It's a problem. Yeah, then why do you think there's data sharing with their spy agencies? Like, it's not just data that we're sharing. There's some other packets that are shipped across the ocean. They're white, and we stuff them inside of ceramic clowns. Yeah, Tommy Robinson should be free. And I think we need to keep up pressure on this case so people don't lose interest in it, specifically to cause that to happen, because it's a slap in the face of freedom. No, nobody should be subjugated by a tyrannical government. Governments, my hope is that the governments over there can be reformed. If that proves impossible, well, then people have to do what they need to do over in Europe. But you're disarmed, so you're not really going to do shit. You'd have to rely, once again, on people who are armed to save you. That would be really, really funny at this one. Over fucking internet, cyber bullshit. It'd be really funny. Yeah. Good on Donald Trump Jr., though, for weighing in on this. I don't know if Donald Trump himself has weighed in on it. He should, though. Oh, that would really cause some heads to spin. It would also boil it down to a partisan issue and become probably a midterm sort of thing over here. It'd be really funny. That's about all. Peace out.